Network Entertainment.
And welcome to my podcast, the RJ Ledesma Podcast. In my podcast, I like to speak to business owners, entrepreneurs, and visionaries to learn more about how they think about doing business, what are their success secrets, and can we replicate those success secrets in our own business. And over here, I've got a great turnaround story for a business just for you guys. I'd like to welcome you here. I'd like to welcome here to the show a very good friend of mine, Jojo Malolos.
Hello, RJ.
Jojo is the president and CEO of PayMongo, and we've so many different times I've told Jojo I want to guest you on the show. I want to guest you on the show. We get together in Mansmith. We get together at the SASCon, and finally I was able to grab Jojo, bring him over here. So I'm excited for your story.
Same here. I've always wanted to at least share some of our stories with you. I know you. I hear a lot about your own story, so it's good to be here.
And I'm so happy to
thanks
see
for finally having this opportunity.
And I'm so happy as I'm looking at your jacket here right now. I see a very familiar logo of MIT.
Yes.
Because I actually went to MIT back in 2001 for a master's in real estate development.
Yeah. Okay.
And what does PayMongo is collaborating with MIT?
Yeah, so through Endeavor, which is a major investment and startup community globally, we were invited to take a look at basically using some of their 4 of their graduating MBA students to take a look at what's new in Southeast Asia. And then, fortunately, we were chosen by MIT to be the country and to be the business that these MBA students are going to take a look at, introducing AI, understanding what are the innovations that we're getting to, and how successful have we been. And then, ang bonus namin doon is that they were willing to come up with a paper in terms of how can they help us in the future strategies using what they're calling product-led strategy, and they came up with a strategy that will supplement our strategies for 2026 and 2027, which we've been executing now. And we worked with them for I think 4 to 6 months, and then after that, they reported the results of the in collaboration with us, and then we were told that it was one of the more well accepted thesis paper that they came up with. So these are 4 students coming from different parts of North America and Latin America and also Europe, who are all studying in MIT MBA.
And how did it do so far? What did you guys learn from what did you guys pick up from the study?
Well, there was a good exchange of what their experiences are in Colombia, in other countries, and how they crafted a product-led strategy for us using the previous strategies that we had. So in a way, we were able to integrate it into our execution roadmap for 2026. And we're currently using some of their principles and their concepts in basic addressing the needs of the markets through a product-led strategy execution roadmap that they shared with us. So product-led means we identify which are the requirements of the customers, our market segments, our ideal customer profiles, and understand whether the product market fit will be shorter if we're able to execute this. So it's an ongoing process. Of course, you strategize, you execute. Sometimes you fail, sometimes you succeed, and that's part of what we have with them.
Fantastic.
It's a basic or basic MBA case study type of engagement.
And having said that, let's finally go into what PayMongo is all about. It might not be a household name or widely recognizable, but PayMongo actually works behind the scenes for people out there. For the layman watching this or the layman entrepreneur, they might not see what PayMongo does. Again, I would always say, what's the elevator pitch? What is PayMongo all about?
So PayMongo basically is in the business of getting merchants, particular SMEs, who wants to sell their products online, right? So there's a lot during the pandemic. There's a lot of buzz about e-commerce. So we basically are behind the payment mechanism for this transaction. So if you go get into online, and then you want to sell your product online, you need an what they're calling an aggregator who will make sure that the payment facilitation will be as seamless as possible. So you don't need to go to GCash, you don't need to go to banks to facilitate payments through them. So we're basically taking care of that. And the the value proposition that we have is that it's a lot easier for them to connect themselves to the market already. It's a lot easier for them to get connected to the customers that they normally would not have. For example, if you're selling Halo Halo and then all the payment that you're getting is through GCash, now you have credit card holders who might want your Halo Halo and pay using their credit card. You might have to have a direct online banking customer who might want to buy your product through online. So expose the merchants to new types of customers, and we make the payment seamless to them as if as if they're getting cash, and then they're able to fulfill the requirements of the merchants.
So basically, the pain point you're trying to solve is that you're trying to make it seamless for them to receive payment from different payment channels.
Payment channels.
Okay.
So the more payment channels, the better.
The better.
For them,
And just to understand, no, I mean, prior to PayMongo coming in, how is the current experience right now? So they cannot accept it in one, because people nowadays they think it just makes sense, right?
It's easy,
Everything. But if PayMongo didn't come into the picture, how would people have to do that?
So before, if PayMongo or any payment aggregator is not in the picture, they would normally just be talking to one payment provider. Most logically, or most often than not, it'll be GCash, right? So because all they need is to tell their customers, okay, just buy your Halo Halo using your GCash, send me your payment, and all that stuff, right? So and that was what was happening during the pandemic, diba? So when we came in, we only did not give them access to different payment channels. We also gave them access to regular dashboard monitoring. You're monitoring how much sales are you getting through this channel. You're monitoring also, how much you're making money using this channel, because there are MDRs, there are fees. You're also monitoring the types of you get additional data around who buys, and then what channels are they using, and how fast they're able to get the money, the payouts, and then also whether these channels are more are more used by their ideal customer profile. So we provide them all of that, and we have a dashboard that allows them to see how they're doing relative to their customers.
So the value add coming in is that PayMongo that only helps you get more payment channels coming to you, but helps you to monitor.
Yes,
to
you're
monitor as
monitoring.
well.
We share with you the data that you have on a daily basis, and then you have a dashboard that also allows you to use other maybe other third-party providers that are that you want to use. Like you might want to use an accounting partner who partnered with us, so that all of the transactions that are going through your dashboard or through the PayMongo channel can actually be converted to maybe a financial statement, or maybe you want to take a look at a P&L, and then we develop it through our third-party partner.
And that's currently what PayMongo is.
That's currently what PayMongo is doing on the online business. But we've also gotten into offline business, meaning in-store, wherein we use our QRPH. We have a QRPH acquiring capability through our EMI license, where we put in our QR standee in some of the stores, and that naman allows them to accept QRPH payments for their products and services. So we have merchants who are both on online and both on offline.
I see. Now, was this the original problem or pain point that PayMongo was trying to solve when it was initially conceptualized?
Yes, initially it was that was the primary concept. The concept is that how do we make merchants, particularly SMEs, get easier access to selling their products online, right? So, but as you know, it has evolved. No, since the pandemic, it has evolved. There's a lot of new players. There's a lot of new products being brought in. There's a lot of AI coming in. So it was the original one, which is to make it easier for SMEs to be onboarded and at the same time facilitate transactions. But right now, PayMongo is not just about that. We also provide them wallets so that they can move money. Kasi dati, simple lang. If I get payment from GCash, that gets into my bank account. But now, there's a lot of payment methods. and there's InstaPay and there's PesoNet. So depending on the money that you're getting in, how much is coming in, then there's some money movement that change. So we've developed a lot of new products and services that will cater to them being able to use their funds more seamlessly. Like for example, if before you get payment from your customers and they get into your bank account first, then you withdraw that into your bank account and put that into your account. And then now, because of the wallet that we provide them, it's seamless na. So we were able to allow them to move money seamlessly, and they are able to identify which banks can offer, cheaper transfer rates and all that. So that had been embedded already. Because so now we're saying that we're not in the business of merchant online business. We're in the business of making our merchants succeed and basically grow their business.
And with that mentality, how did it change the way that you thought about doing business for PayMongo?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a simple cultural problem that we had before, and that is on churn. No, so we were wondering why is it that every time somebody a competitor brings down their price, our merchants basically get out of us and basically churn. So there's no amount of pricing, there's no amount of marketing, there's no amount of customer acquisition strategy that you can implement, and then they still leave because it's about rates, right? So we were in the race to the bottom type of business. So what we did is we tried to identify what probably will allow these merchants to stay despite the fact that they still have they're still paying us higher rates than others. And that was when we start talking about their problems on moving money. Sometimes without a wallet, they have to pause their business because they need to withdraw the money first from the bank where the payment came in, and then bring it back to their account, and then so that they can use that account to basically buy things or move money. So because of that, we started coming up with all of these new things, because we changed the mindset in saying that if your customer is not happy with you simply because they moved to another one, then there must be something that we can get them to stick in a little bit longer with us. And that's just one of them, the money movement. We also allowed them to disburse. For example, if you now receive your payments into your own wallet, you can now disburse it. Disburse meaning you can pay the salaries of your people through that same wallet. Hindi ka na lilipat sa ibang bangko para sabihin mo sa kanila, sige, magbangko kayo dito, and then you will be able to transfer money pa. Maraming money movement activities that we have also developed. And we also developed new products and services that will cater to their most basic requirements. For example, QR, no? So, dati kasi wala kaming QR eh. Puro online payment ka lang. GCash lang yung gamitin mo. But since the proliferation of QRPH through the BSP's thrust or push to get the QRPH to be used, and then it can now be used by anybody. So we developed, new innovations around it. We developed innovations around, the faster way by which you can facilitate a QRPH payment. Hindi na yung mag-upload ka. So we're doing a lot of new things in that innovation as well. Right? So,
and what's very interesting about this one is that these pain points came out because you said, how do I retain the customers,
yes,
right? And then, so I said, so you have to find deeper pain points for them to continue staying with you.
Yes. So because if you don't understand really, if we did not take a look at our customers or our merchants from a perspective of them growing their business with us, we wouldn't be coming up with all of these new innovations. For example, we have a new innovation called Capital. We lend them money, right? But the way we designed the loan is so much like, we have to find a way by which we understand that they're using the money to grow their business. Not just to, you lend them and they spend it, and you will not see business growing. So we devise it in such a way that we call it revenue-based. No? Papautangin ka namin, pag pumayag ka sa terms na to, yung singil namin sa iyo dun sa payment na dumadaan sa amin. So we've done that for about 2 years. And then up to now, it's 0 NPL. Yung nga lang, hindi ganun kadami yung nag-avail kasi we give them the option to avail of it. Once you avail it, then we get your payment from your business. Kasi kung hindi nag-grow yung business mo, wala akong makukuha ang pera doon, di ba?
Right.
So
hindi siya win-win.
So parang anong nangyayari is that and when you agree, then we know that you're going to use it to grow your business. So 80% of those who borrowed from us borrowed again, and 67% of those who borrowed again, actually yung business nila nag-grow 0.5% to 1% month on month, which is good for us. So monitor din namin yun, and then we give them benefits, we give them incentives to continuously grow. Pinababaan namin kuminsan yung interest rate. And then we also expand it. Kung magbabayad sila maaga, we give them additional credits and all that. So again, it's all part of understanding your customers and your merchants and what they really want to do with their businesses. So
in the Philippines, about 99.5% of the businesses are micro, small, and medium enterprises, and these are all family business technically over here. And what's the profile of the kind of customers or the best clients that you have under PayMongo?
That's a very good question. In fact, I was in a very interesting topic with some of the rural banks. No? Kasi ang question nila is, how do you take a look at the profile of an SME that you want to lend money to?
Yes, oo.
Diba? Sabi ko lang, alam mo, no amount of credit scoring or analysis will matter pagdating na ng bayaran. Pautangin ko si RJ Sari-Sari Store, umutang lang ng 200,000, gagamitin niya yun pangpapalago ng negosyo niya. O sige, nag-credit ko, pinuutang. Magbabayad, nag-birthday yung anak. O kaya kailangan magbayad ng tuition fee ng isang anak. Nag-birthday si mami, nagkasakit si ate. Doon mo na dadalhin yung pambayad eh. And that's why yung 5-6 hindi nawawala because the 5-6 is now the means by which you can pay the actual loan para ma-maintain mo yung credibility mo, yung credit score credibility mo, no? So that is the principal behavior that we're looking at, because not all of these 99.6% SMEs really want to grow their business. A lot of them are actually para makapampatawid gutom lang. Diba? If I'm earning 50,000 a month, which is enough to support my family, hanggang 50,000 a month lang ako. Ang hinahanap natin yung gusto maging 100,000 pesos a month, yung magiging kikitain, yung magiging 200,000 pesos a month, diba? So kaya kami nag-i-introduce ng ganung klaseng concept ng, okay, I will lend you money, but it will now be dependent on how you grow your business, right? So pero siyempre, konti lang talaga yung mga yun kasi gusto lang naman nila, hindi, gusto ko lang, yung minsan ayaw pa nilang pagalaw yung pera nila para yun na magbayad. Gusto namin magbayad lang kami sa'yo kung kailan namin gusto or something, right? So yun. So that's what one of those things that we are looking at. So we look at the profile of our merchants kasi nakukuha naman namin yung intention nila. Papaliwanag nila sa amin yung negosyo nila, papaliwanag nila sa amin yung paano nila gustong palakihin. And then we onboard them, we take a look at their documents, we onboard them, and then we look at how fast they're able to do the first transaction, and then how often they're able to do that. And we have the data for all of those. So we have about right now we have about 8 to 10,000 active out of about 15,000 merchants. So but they're growing month on month right now.
What kind of businesses are these that you have that are mostly
bigyan kita ng sample. Yun nga, yung Bebang Halo-Halo is there. Meron Tinapa is Life, nagbibenta ng tinapa. Merong House of Putubaw. May mga dental clinics, yung iba. Because they all facilitate faster payments through online, right? So we give them access to that. So of course, meron din kami mga business na like, we have a business with Lazada wherein we are taking care of all of their QR payments, online and offline. We also have schools that are basically facilitating payments for us. But the bigger ones are really the mom and pop, yung mga maliliit na nagbebenta ng mga ulam, nagbebenta ng tinapay, nagbebenta ng tinapa, nagbebenta ng isda and all that. So
help me understand. For example, they can just use their e-wallets that they have right now to collect. I mean, the easiest way to transact, if it's a small business, they just say, ito yung number ko, di ba? I-transfer mo dito na lang, di ba? Or ito yung QR ko, di ba? But what for them, for the smaller ones, what's the additional incentive for them? How do you incentivize them to go, okay,
use PayMongo wallet,
yep,
diba?
Use the PayMongo wallet.
Because in PayMongo wallet accepts all types of payments, right? So At saka may infrastructure na kami doon that will accept payments from BDO, from the banks, payments from e-wallets, Maya din, payments from QRPH or payments from credit cards, kung gano'n. So we have that infrastructure. But what does to you is that parang, some of our initial, our preliminary merchants were coming from, alam mo yung sa subdivision, di ba, nagbibenta ng mga taho,
Oo.
dadala sila, nagbebenta sila ng hamburger, they are all right with accepting GCash payments, and that's okay. Pero once they see that, uy, marami rin palang po pwedeng bumili dito outside of the subdivision, di ba?
Oo.
Outside of the subdivision. And then marami rin palang po pwedeng bumili outside of the subdivision, and then they will use the credit card as payment. So mag-increase yung sales sila technically. That's the only thing that syempre experience yan. Pag na-experience mo na, wala namang bumibili ng credit card sa akin, wala namang bumibili ng other wallet sa akin, GCash pa rin. Then they can go back and then basically do that. But what it does is that expands your market. At the same time, yung pag-receive mo ng pera from different methods, pag malaki ka na, madali na nakikita mo na yung data. I mean, PayMongo basically processes, categorizes all the payments that you have. For this day, ito yung naging payment sa'yo for, coming from wallets. Alam mo naman kung magkano yung binabayaran mong MDR sa wallet, alam mo yung binabayaran. And then you will now have an appreciation of where your business will be flourishing more. Diba?
And with that one, how does the customer actually engage PayMongo? I mean, for the small vendor, how do they find? How do they get on board with PayMongo?
So normally we have 3 channels. So normally we participate in mga tawag dito, mga conferences, mga SME conferences, and all that. And then sometimes they discover us there. The other channel is that we have we have also our Instagram and Facebook channel wherein they find out that PayMongo is facilitating that, and then they can always go to our website. And the third is word of mouth. So karamihan ng mga nakukuha namin lately are because nag-PayMongo ka na ba? Hindi pa nag-PayMongo. So we're thinking of the next one, which is the fourth one, which is basically to start being active also in advertisement and telling everybody that we are a very active player in this particular line of business. Diba?
Now, the interesting thing about your story of PayMongo is that you actually weren't there at the start. You came in because the company had hit some challenges and they needed to bring you in. So before PayMongo, what were you doing?
Okay. Yan yung laging the story that has not been probably heard, no. So I've been working for almost 40 years already.
Hindi naman obvious eh.
Di ba? Hindi obvious. No? So 40 years na ako. But I got into fintech because I was the CEO of Smart Money year 2008 to 2012. Smart Money is now Maya.
Maya, okay.
So lahat ng mga karamihan na nagpapatakbo ng Maya ngayon worked with me before, no? And then we all had our experiences in running it. So I was the CEO. I ran it. I created that yung merchant acquisition framework nila. We partnered with Mastercard before, and then I left 2012. And in 2012, I went to the US and did my consulting work with Mastercard. I launched some of their wallets in Latin America, Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, Peru, and also Brazil. No, and then while I was doing that, I was also hired to run a data analytics company of one of the startups in Boston. That's kaya rin ako maraming kakilala sa MIT, and because we were, our office was just near MIT, and then I was invited to run a small thrift bank in Cambodia. And Thrift Bank of Cambodia was really a thrift bank, and they wanted me to digitize it and make it a digital bank, convert it to a digital bank. In 3 years' time, it was converted to a digital bank and eventually became a commercial bank. And it's one of the greatest big stories of Cambodia in terms of getting into that. Digital, because I was able to run a company which had a volume of transactions that was bigger than the GDP of the country.
Wow!
So we were processing about $28 billion of transactions, wallet transactions amongst about 10,000 sari-sari stores. and it was 28 billion, and then the GDP of the country was 21 billion. So sinabi nila, we've conquered financial inclusion because umiikot lang yung sa mga sari-sari stores.
Oo.
May nagpadala ng pera, may nagbabayad ng insurance, may nagbabayad ng in all of that. So I got an interest naman from Lance and the Gokongwei group to say, gawin mo kaya dito yan. So can you set up a digital bank also for us? Kasi they have our bank then, and they said that maybe it's time that we set up something. And then we also have that retail network, no. And then I set up GoTime. I'm the founder of GoTime.
You're the founder of GoTime?
I'm the founder of GoTime. So I
Okay.
set it up. We partnered with Time of South Africa. Ako rin yun because I was also the CEO of Lance's corporate venture capital company called JG Dev. And then we invested in Time of South Africa, and then I became a member of the board ng Time of South Africa. And then we said, okay, let's come to the Philippines. And when we set up GoTime. So yun yung storya ko hanggang sa GoTime because I became the CEO, I set it up, I became the CEO, and eventually I got the chairman, and then we hired the two co-CEOs, and then now si Nate Clark is the one running it, and then nangyari sa PayMongo. So the PayMongo story is quite interesting because I was already chairman and I was about to retire
GoTime.
of GoTime. So I mean, it's a corporate job. It's something that it has to cap my career already. Okay na yan, di ba? So, but my friend, fraternity brad and friend si Luis basically approached me one time and said that kasi we almost invested in PayMongo, yung JG Dev, no. Hindi lang natapos because I wasn't able to bring it to my IC kasi
The investment committee.
because they were looking for information na hindi pa mai-provide ni PayMongo then. But I was able to analyze the business and I thought it was a really, really good business. And then came that yung nagkaroon sila ng existential challenge. Three of the founders had left, and then siyempre nasa Jari sila, and it is becoming a some sort of an embarrassment for the entire Philippine investment community because the investors of PayMongo are marquee investors. Si Peter Thiel was there, si Justin Matin, who founder of Tinder, was there. The other head of Sophia, Stripe, the $156 billion company, the biggest fintech in the world, was also an investor, in fact, a major investor. And then you had the GFC, the Rocket Internet guys. So, iisa lang ang Pilipino na investor doon, which is basically ICCP. Tapos si Kaya also put in, amount. So, the back of my mind is that nakakaya tayo kung because of this existential, kasi ang daming allegations dun sa business. Right? It was going down, the growth suddenly went down after raise lang nila ng $31 million. No? So I was approached and then said, is there do you know anybody who can help us run this? Because alam naman nila, hindi ako pwedeng basta-basta mamalis sa GoTime noon. So I tried to help them, talk to some people who will be able to run it. They were not interested because alam na nila yung unit economics, alam na nila yung nangyari. And then suddenly, I was approached by some of the investors and said, what would it take you for you to take this on? Maybe this can be your swan song, sabi nila.
Hey, whether it's a struggle you can't seem to get through or a dream that seems too daunting for you, this is Mirza Sison telling you that you can do this. Let's figure it out or find someone who can. I'm a confidence coach and host, an ex-editor, ex-model, ex-20-something, ex-30-something, exactly who you need to help you navigate through life's ins and outs. What are you waiting for? Let's go! You can do this.
Because if no one is really going to run this, we will just consider this a massive failure. And then, we were, kasi Y Combinator pa pala itong company nito.
Yeah. And why for people who don't know why it's such a big deal to be in Y Combinator?
Y Combinator is one of the biggest, venture capital companies. Sa kanila yung mga malalaking company ngayon, sa kanila lahat yun. OpenAI, yung the president of Y Combinator before is si Sam Altman, who is now, OpenAI. Tapos, dyan dumaan si Stripe, dyan dumaan si Airbnb, dyan dumaan yung mga malalaking companies. So all of these big successful startups now.
And pumasa dyan si PayMongo.
Among others, no? So having that ID or your badge, is really good. Kaya lang, if you're not able to use it properly, ganun din yung bagsak mo, di ba? So Y Combinator, all of them, they approached me, and then and I said that not necessarily just to save the company, but I said that these guys deserve more than just what happened. So I looked at it. Paalam pa nga ako kay sa boss ko, kay Lance, and sabi ko, maybe I'll take this on. And then I took it on, no. So ang kwentuhan nga namin nila Manny doon is, pare, thank you, you saved the community. Sabi ko, I think I can turn this around, or at least turn around the image, no. Ang problema ko, RJ, is that I did not know na ganun pala ang problema pag 3 of the founders left, and the founders who had left hired all of these people.
Under you?
Hindi, hired all of these people na aabutan ko.
Oo.
So, massive culture change, pare. Yung wala pa akong 1 week, pare. Somebody vandalized my parking slot. Parang they wanted me to feel that, I'm not welcome there. I should not be running it. I've been receiving, all of this Twitter message na gano'n, ano lang daw ako, I am just a corporate, ganyan. So, they were discrediting me. Tapos, my first town hall, may nagtanong lang sa akin if I will be asking them to come back to the office. Ang sagot ko lang, I'll think about it. Maybe there's a chance that maybe we consider at least one day para naman magkakakilala kayo. Ganun agad lahat eh. Parang, thumbs down lahat. And I was feeling, sabi ko, I'm not welcome here. So, but, wala, I took it on. 90% of those people were hired by the previous founder. So that's what I grappled with, pare, all throughout, because wala akong mapapasok sa opisina. Kasi 100% remote sila. Wala akong ma-fire kasi mas mahal mag-fire kesa and during that time I was left with about 18 months, 20 months of runway. Biro mo pa, dumating ako, I'm just left with about 20 months of runway. Kung natitirahin is parang,
For people who don't understand, what exactly does mean you have 20 months of runway? How much money was left for you to be able to...
So there's about $20 million worth of money left to run a company that was burning about $1.2 million a month. Parang gano'n. So, 20 divided by 1.2, will give you, kung ganyan pa rin ang gastos mo, ganito lang kahaba yung buhay ng company. And, if you're losing money, when I came in, the company was losing about 800 million pesos, right? So,
a month?
Hindi, total na
Total.
yun. So 2022, that was the EBITDA loss, no? So about 800 million, 700 to 800 million. So ang daming ang daming pumapasok sa isip mo, paano mo siya ma-reduce, paano mo papatakbuhin to with I had 245 people, 158 engineers. And then hindi ko makita kung nasaan yung produkto. Tapos yung customers are leaving, the churning and all that. So it was classic case na parang what's in it. Para kang anong tawag doon, yung game na pag tumigil yung tugtog, kung ikaw may hawak, ikaw yung taya, no? Parang feeling ko tumigil ako may hawak, and then I didn't realize it was such a big problem. And then plus on top of that, I still get all of these messages from others na parang discrediting me and and all that. So pero yun nga, sabi ko is that I should be a bigger person than this. And so first thing I decided was to get a really, really good HR person who I trusted. And then that's the start of the enculturation. We changed the culture. We were very, very patient with some people who basically think they know more than anybody else. Pero and maswerte lang ako because imagine ang umalis nun the CEO, umalis ang CTO, and then the COO, and when I took over, everybody was basically still in that notion na magaling sila when it was not, right? So it was losing money, and they did not know that. Sabi nila, alam nila, normal naman yun sa startup na mag-lose ka. But anyway, cut the long story short, there's been a lot of struggle, and then the first year I was able to grow the business by 40%, and the growing of the business was just basically talking to some of our merchants who've been with us to be more patient, and then basically, how can I increase the volume? Paano natin madadagdagan yung volume? Nag-introduce kami new products. May mga products pa nga ako na nagtataka ako, ang tagal-tagal na sinip, tapos hindi pala magamit, no? So, so on the second year, we started deploying some of the new products that we have on QRPAs, on wallets, and then we were able to increase it by about nag 2.3x ako nung year 2024. In 2024, that was the time that I was able to get my CTO.
You had to get a new CTO.
Oh,
Yes.
I got a new CTO. Finally, ang tagal ko naghahanap ng CTO, hindi ako makahanap. So finally, we were able to get that. Because I really needed an overhaul of my infrastructure. Because every time dadagdagan ko yung number, dumadapa eh. Parang, of course, I won't blame anybody, but that has been the system. So my new CTO he was a CTO of Traveloka, or the head of tech of Traveloka, which is also already a unicorn company, diba? Of Indonesia, diba? Filipino siya. And then he basically, I just gave him mandate to do whatever it is that you need. You be fair with the people, and he did a lot of change of culture, mindset, and all that. And eventually, in-overhaul talaga namin yung sistema na yun. Even the wallets, even the infrastructure, even the core platform itself, binago niya talaga lahat. Which now allowed us to really ramp up. Dati, pag dinagdagan mo ng 100,000 pesos worth of transaction ko per day, dumadapa kami. Ngayon, I'm processing 4 to 5 billion pesos worth of transactions per day. So it's a lot different now. Tapos there was a discipline. We created the discipline around being concerned for the company, yung kinikwento ko sa'yo, and at the same time, finding out what part of the things that you did for the year or for the month had really impacted the business. So meron kaming dashboard on, how are we with revenue, how are we with volume, and then yung mga projects mo, how much of them have contributed to that. So we created
So previous to that, walang transparency na ganyan sa
wala,
team?
hindi nila nakikita. Kala nila, by just being at home, working, they were having impact. No? So, and we had to create that new discipline. And, we made the regular ManCom meetings to understand the challenges. Right now, we have about 90 people from 245. Of those 245, siguro mga 6 or 7 na lang yung natitira sa dating team.
Wow, so it's almost an overhaul of everybody.
Talagang overhaul siya. And I think that's the core. Because what we needed to prove was that it was not also in the investment market. So every time I go to my investors now, they ask me, what really changed. And the real change was culture, and second is that, we just really had to overhaul the initial mindset of why PayMongo was there in the first place. Kasi dati, parang, ako nag-develop nito, ako nag-develop niyan. The more people we have, the better, we will be better. The more merchants we have. Dumating ako, 20,000 merchants, 13,000 merchants, walang transaction. How can you be proud of that, right? So, ganun yung mga dinadaanan naming, parang nga sa basic parang basic. Kaya lang, it was basic. However, the structure was different. We were a startup company. May pera sa inyo yung investors. That's why the first thing that I wanted everybody to understand, it is our responsibility to take care of our investors' money. We cannot spend it the way we want to spend it, di ba? Gastos ka lang, mag-isip ka ng bagong produkto, at pag hindi nangyari yan, okay, maintindihan lang naman yan kasi ganun naman ang startup. Hindi So I converted, I turned around that mindset. No, everything that we will be doing now will have to be revenue accretive. At the end, it has to be net income accretive.
Mm-hmm.
If this product is not going to give you a net income immediately, puro ka loss leader, then hindi ko gagalawin yan. So I think that allowed us. So when I grew the business, I grew the business about 3x in 2025, and that's when we hit positive EBITDA and positive cash flow on November. So since November up to now, we've been net income positive. And then hindi ko na masyadong pinoproblema yung, kailangan ko mag-raise ng pera, kailangan kong gawin to. So, it was a very, very fulfilling, not only for me, but for the team. When everybody starts feeling that it matters to be in this organization. But syempre, to sustain that now, that's what we need to work on. How do we sustain it, right? Kasi these people who have been working with me for the past 3 years that I was there are now target of bigger organizations.
Yeah. So,
Siyempre, di ba?
Yan
Yun yung magiging problema mo ngayon kasi, they were able to prove that, they're part of going this. So, that's where yung pag-usapan natin doon sa conference, yung malasakit sa kumpanya comes in. And that's what I'm trying to, work with them because they're the ones running this business. It's not going to be me who will be running the business at some point, right? So
people realizing that it's a fintech company, but the true solution to the fintech company was the culture.
The culture at saka ano yung impact nung Paymongos industry sa society, di ba? That's why we monitor how many of our merchants are becoming successful because that's our contribution to society. We allow Bebangs to be successful. We allow Tinapa is Life to be successful. And then if they're successful, they get to more customers. Kasi objective natin ngayon, pare, not necessarily to grow the economy, but to bring the economy from an emerging market status sa mas magandang status naman, di ba? Kasi lagi na lang tayo emerging market, lagi na lang tayo third country, third world economy, di ba? Maybe, we should now aim, and this is the opportunity. The opportunity is through the SMEs, the opportunity is through getting the SMEs to really use innovation and technology seamlessly, like it's normal for them to use it. Hindi sila natatakot sa innovation, di ba?
And I guess also what I'm seeing from you is that there was the change in mindset now. I'm just working to burn money to sense of ownership. And also a difference in the terms of thinking of working in a startup because often people think, well, it's okay to burn this because we're not really here to make money. We're here just to acquire customers, and then profit will be later on. But you have to change those two mindsets.
I have to change that because sinabi sa akin investors ko. In fact, one of our investors even called me maybe 3 weeks into the business. He says, I don't care whether you will generate revenues, but reduce costs. Fire people if you want, but reduce costs. I don't care about your revenues because you have to preserve the money that we have given you. Something like that. Anong gagawin ko doon? Parang, hindi na ako magtatrabaho, magtatanggal na ako, tas, pantay na lang. Kasi yun yung gusto nila. But yeah, it's really a mindset to say that hindi lahat ng startup were just, formed to grow. Pagdating ko nga, sinasabi ko nga, parang, hawak-hawak ko na yung tumigil yung tugtog. Sabi ko, ngayon profitability na yung hinahanap sa akin, di ba? Parang, imagine, yung mga unang founders, hindi naman hinanapan ng profitability. Just grow it, grow. Tapos ngayon ako, profitability na. Parang, and then, I will receive all of this, all of these comments and, they don't appreciate what you're trying to do. And, hopefully ngayon that, I've turned it around, sabi ko nga parang, the only redemption here is success Parang, people start telling you, no, wala magagawa yan, kami lang dapat yan, and all that. But yeah, again, that's past. So, in fact, hindi ko na nga dapat, binabanggit yan. But, it's been a good learning, not only for me, but, maybe for my team.
Well, bravo to you and what you've done. And right now, you're creating a model for other businesses here as well.
Yeah, so...
I'm curious, if you're going to sort of summarize everything that you've picked up from this one, what would you like to be the key takeaways for companies also experiencing the same sort of... Because you're not the only both companies which have technological or startup natures and also even traditional businesses go through this one, right?
Yeah.
But are you seeing common denominators from your experience that we can pass on to other companies? What would you like them to know based on your experience?
Yeah. I think the biggest learning that I continuously share. I'm also the chairman of the Fintech
Alliance
Philippines, not Alliance. Si Lito Villanueva Alliance. Ako yung sa Fintech Philippines, no. So but si Lito and I are good friends. We worked together before. I'm also a board member of Manila Angel Investment Network.
I see.
I'm also a mentor in Endeavor. I'm also, a board trustee of Sinigang Valley, which is an association of investment Philippine companies and startup companies. So, I'm also active sa Geeks on the Beach and all of the activities. And I use all of this forum fora to basically share what I have learned, not only from Paymongo but from the rest. And it's always around this concept that you come up with an idea, you convert it into a product, and you think that you'll be successful if you convert that to a product, right? So, and it also helps that because maraming organizations na ganito, maraming experiences na lumalabas, no? So, ang lagi kong sinasabi, RJ, is that don't fall in love with your product, right? Fall in love with the problem that you're trying to solve. Every time you come up with a business, tell me what problem you are trying to solve. If you are selling tinapa, what problem are you trying to solve so that you grow it? You create businesses for others. You create opportunities for others to understand that this type of craft. If you're if you're a fintech company, what problem are you trying to solve? You're bringing in more merchants, you're bringing in more SMEs. And then, ang metric mo, ilang SMEs na ba yung natulungan ko? At saka, nag-grow ba talaga yung business nila? So yun, your first lesson is that don't fall in love with your product, fall in love with the problem that you're solving. Ganun din naman when I was with JG Dev, yun din naman hinahanap ko. What problem are you trying to solve? And why do you think that you are the only ones who will be able to solve that problem? Right? So, the second is really on yung advocacy mo, in running a business, right? So, if you talk to a lot of CEOs, kasi ngayon dami na CEOs ng mga startups, di ba? Parang, and you start understanding, why do you need to do this, right? So, the advocacy should all be around either, having an impact on society or being able to train others. Yung mga like-minded, yung mga magagaling mag-isip na bata, paano ko matutulungan, di ba? So part of that is also for me is yung succession. I'm very serious about success because, I'm 63, turning 63 this year. Hindi ko naman forever papatakbuhin to na ganito, di ba? That's why all throughout the past 3 years, we've developed leaders, next generation leaders. Pero the development of these leaders should be around two things. One is that their ability to understand how to experiment. Ang term namin dun is, you have to be able to bring something and make rubber hit the road. Because when rubber hits the road, you will start to understand what will actually happen. And your ability to make a decision on what happens when it hits the road is what will now matter. No? Mm-hmm. The second is that you have to be able to make a decision. Grab the bull by the horn. Yun yung tawag nila doon Jojoisms. Rubber hits the road. At saka the second one is grab the bull by the horn. Well, you are only capable of running a business when you can grab the bull by the horn and make a decision. And then be responsible for the consequences of that decision. Tapos meron pa akong dinagdag na iba na, the Murphy's Law. And also understanding that despite everything that you do, shit will hit the fan. Right? So, if something wrong will happen, it will. You just have to be ready with it. So yun lang yung mga sinasabi ko sa kanila. And I think in running a business, if you have all of those things, you're confident of yourself, you're confident that you're able to train others, and you're confident that you're having an impact on society and you're able to solve a problem. I think the fulfillment will be all right.
Fantastic. Really great insights. And the one that I want to add is that I like what you said earlier. Another Jojoism, your only redemption is success.
Yes, success. Success meaning through all this, the only way that I can prove those who were who were telling others or who were trying to show that I will fail is that to be successful, right? And that's not only for me, that's also for the team that basically helped make this happen.
Now, Jojo, you're in a unique position of seeing the cash flow, the dashboards. You've got the bigger dashboard. You're seeing everything that's happening right now. Are you also seeing, if for other entrepreneurs out there who want to get into business, are you seeing business opportunities that are emerging, patterns that you're seeing that can still be leveraged and turned into business opportunities? You wouldn't pursue them yourself, but you're seeing, look at these opportunities that are coming out as a result of the cash flows.
I think kasi siguro let's ang dami kasing smoke screen, di ba? Parang there are real opportunities. Ang laging problema lang talaga is that ano yung infrastructure na nakadikit dun sa opportunities. So I think the biggest opportunity right now, based on my experience, is the use of technology properly. The use of technology, lalo na AI, pare. Lalo na AI. Meaning, if AI can already develop your FS, regularly and come up with all of this by just having a Claude prompt, Claude co-work prompt na gano'n, ibigay mo lang lahat yung mga I mean, how do you use that to improve your business, di ba? So there's a lot of opportunity if you start taking a look at technology, right? Whether it's digital or it's AI. At maraming darating eh. May darating na stable coins and all that. So your ability to understand even on a plane. Ako kasi maswerte ako, umabot pa ako sa digital digital age and kaya ko pang gumamit ng GCash. Karamihan sa peers ko hindi na nila ayaw na nilang gumamit ng GCash o kaya kung gagamit man sila simple na lang di ba? Parang so there's a lot of opportunity. But the bigger opportunity really is for these entrepreneurs to understand where the problem is. I'll give you an example. I was approached by some of the rural banks. Pare, rural banks ito. Sabi nila, nagkakaproblema kami kasi nawawala yung customers namin eh. Bakit? Ano nawawala? Kasi hindi kami nakakapag-process ng InstaPay eh. Hindi kami nakakapaglipat ng pera. Pag nasa isang rural bank ka ng ganito, gusto nila maglipat ng pera sa GCash, hindi nila mailipat. Mag-withdraw pa sila, di ba? So, if that problem appeals to you, how do we try to solve it, di ba? Sabi ko, pag binigyan ba kita ng facility by which you can move money? Kasi hindi man nila kayang bumili ng platform para ma-move yung money. Will that help you? Oh, so, we're piloting some of this, based on what we can do. But it's an opportunity. And dami rural bank. Paano matutulungan natin sila, ma-preserve yung mga customers nila, tapos makakapagpautang pa sila. Something like that. So, I think the entrepreneurs should always take a look at what are the problems that can be solved. Tapos, doon mo na lang dalhin yung doon mo na lang dalhin yung interest mo na parang, instead of saying, I want to be the AI leader, di ba? Hindi, doon na lang, I want to be able to help, the unwed mothers who keep on waiting for their, for the breadwinners to come and then give them food, Bigyan mo ng trabaho, kaya gather mo sila, bigyan mo sila ng laundry business or something. I mean, kailangan gano'n na yung ginagawa natin. Mag-isip na tayo na, puntahan mo na kung nasaan yung problema and use innovation and technology to help them do that, right? So, I think that should be the primary. Ganun din sinasabi ko sa team ko eh. Parang, how do you improve our product using AI or using all of this? We have regularly, they come up with regular, suggestions on how to do that. And, I think this is the time that we should really take advantage of it. Other than, ibenta natin yung AI, tuturuan natin iba pa na mag-AI. Hindi, maghanap ka na ng problema na masosolve ng AI, di ba? Or something like that.
Fantastic. George, it's been a really great session with you with PayMongo. Before I let you go, just one more thing. What is that key lesson that you want to share with up-and-coming professionals, entrepreneurs that you wish you knew when you were working that you want to pass on?
Yes, okay. Siyempre, I've run a lot of businesses, so I also have a lot of experiences. One is that, sometimes you have to be deliberate in failing for you to define success, di ba? Kasi sabi nga nila, ang hirap i-define ng success kung hindi ka nag-fail, di ba? So sometimes you can be deliberate in failing for you to succeed. Because I always use the phrase, I run while I tie my shoes. Because I anticipate that I will fall. But the value of falling is in the, getting up, right? Because when you get up, alam mo na kung bakit ka bumagsak. Alam mo naman, you're running where you're tying your shoes. Pag bumagsak ka, dapat alam mo kung bakit ka bumagsak. So, I think that's a very, very important aspect of you running a business. Second is that, you really need to experiment. Because nowadays, hindi mo alam kung ano yung tamang sagot eh. Di ba? Kumbaga parang nung panahon natin, nung nag-aaral tayo, pag nag-exam tayo, tatawag tayo doon sa mga kaklase natin na nakakuha ng exam last year, sasabihin sa atin ng professor, pareho pa rin yung question pero iba yung sagot. Di ba? Pareho pa rin yung question. Sige, kopyahin mo yan pero iba na yung sagot niyan. So, don't be afraid to experiment because it's also on the experimenting that you can learn from. No? So, yun lang. Tapos yung sinasabi ko is, when you have to, rubber hits the road and then you grab the bull by the horn and accepting the fact that when you are in control, things can still happen. If something will go wrong, it will go wrong. But don't let that basically make you more anxious, or allow you to defeat yung objective mo of succeeding, or objective mo of helping others, or having an impact on society, or solving a problem.
I love that. Thank you for all the Jojo isms. And finally, if my fellow MSMEs here want to take up PayMongo or use PayMongo, how should they go about it?
They can go to PayMongo, www.paymongo.com. We have there a portion that says, would you like to test it? You like a trial account, and then they can start that, and then we have AI that already, so that it can onboard you in 5 minutes. We will also give you a free opportunity to form your own website. So you can onboard. You can try PayMongo out by going to our website, www.paymongo.com.
Fantastic. Again, Jojo, thanks so much for guesting over here on the RJ
Thank you
Ladez
for having
podcast.
me. Thank you.
Lovely having you over here. Thank you so much. We will see you in the next podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.